The Freight Transport Association is recognised as the voice of the logistics industry, with campaigns being at the heart of all it does. So what are those issues? To tell us more, I'm glad to say we're joined now by James Hookham, who is Deputy Chief Executive of the FTA. James, what are those key issues as far as campaigns are concerned at the moment for the FTA?
The top issues that members are worrying about is they need to recruit more drivers. We must stop fuel duty going up in the budget in a few weeks' time. We've got to get something done about the desperate situation in Calais with economic migrants, and we must make sure that the right decisions are made about airport capacity.
Driver shortage has actually been described as a crisis. Realistically, what can be done, do you think, as an industry working together?
Well, obviously it's up to individual operators and employers to make the best offers and supply the right conditions. What we're trying to do is to get other parties to understand what those challenges are. So we are looking to the government to help fund the £3,000 to £4,000 cost of getting a driving licence for trucks. We're looking for the insurance industry to offer younger drivers cheaper insurance because that's a big blocker to new people coming into the industry. We're also working with other parties, including the trades unions, about improving the conditions for drivers. Basic driver facilities are simply not up to standard, and employers and indeed local authorities have got a lot to contribute there.
When it comes to fuel duty, that is a subject that seems to never go away, and you've mentioned the budget on the 8th of July, a surprise one if you like for this year as well, but it is a really key issue for the industry as a whole.
Fuel duty is one of the easiest ways by which a government desperate for cash can raise a lot of it very quickly, because it's not a discretionary spend. People have got to spend money on fuel, whether they are motorists or truck operators. So we must keep making the case for operators to the Chancellor to say that you can't do this because it simply stops smaller businesses in particular, but all FTA members, from continuing to grow and prosper as the economy recovers.
But fuel isn't a new issue though, is it? I mean, how are you realistically going to tackle that, James?
Well, FTA is a founder member of Fair Fuel UK. We've renewed our commitments to that campaign, very successful campaign. It kept fuel duty rates down throughout the previous government. So we've signed up again and we start that campaign on the 1st of July with a big rally of MPs in the House of Commons, the new members of Parliament, and we aim to be as successful in this new Parliament as we were in the last.
You touched on the migrant situation in Calais. In the last 2 years, we've seen the numbers increase from a few hundred to now over 3,000. It just seems to be getting worse rather than better.
It's desperate, Julian, and I'm really concerned that this doesn't become some forgotten corner of the issue. It's playing out day by day in front of our eyes there. FTA's role in this is to keep the pressure on the Home Office to take this issue seriously. And in discussions I've had only this week with James Brockenshire, the Home Office Minister, I'm pleased with the progress that he's making and the sense of urgency that he has. But working with the government, we've got to make sure that the French authorities take this seriously as well, and indeed ultimately get a solution for this at European level. And FTX Brussels office is playing a key role in that key task.
And you mentioned the fact that it is a desperate situation, and as I say, something that really it seems to be getting worse, that we need to all be looking at as a whole, really, again, as the industry, isn't it?
There are a lot of threats here, not just to the individual safety of drivers and vehicles, but every single load that gets breached and invaded by migrants is normally written off, especially consumer loads, goods that are destined for supermarkets and so on, will not be touched if they've been breached by a migrant. So there is a big cost here, not just to the vehicle, but also to the cargoes. And that's something that the government's got to understand and appreciate, and therefore make sure it does something about this.
One issue, one of the campaigns as well for the FTA that seems to be overlooked, seems to be the importance of air freight.
Yes, and throughout the years that this big debate has been running, FTA's worked really hard to get cargo onto the agenda. We've been working with the Howard Davis Commission and made a big submission to them, including our Sky High brochure. And we wrote last week to the Prime Minister when he started to indicate that he might be erring towards possibly a Gatwick situation. The reality is that for many British businesses, Heathrow provides an important international cargo hub for them to reach their key markets in other parts of the world. And although passengers will clearly be an important part of the equation, we wanted to make sure that the decision that is finally reached does take account of the need for an international cargo hub in the UK.
I think today we've just scratched on some of the surface as far as those campaigns are concerned, but it is reflecting exactly the voice of the logistics industry and thoughts and, I suppose, the issues for our members.
These issues won't be solved by us just whinging about them and making the case that we've got a problem. We've got to offer solutions. We've got to do our part in stepping forward and contributing to that. So we need some constructive proposals. And FTA's mantra has always been to offer solutions and not just whinge about the problems. FTA, find the answer.
Thank you very much indeed. James Hookham, Deputy Chief Executive of the FTA. Find out more by going to the website. It is fta.co.uk.